Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Khierstyn and I'm really pumped for today's interview. We're bringing back a past client that has used Indiegogo and really crowdfunding to not only start his brand, but also to use it for subsequent product launches and use it as an inventory play. So I think there's a lot of stuff to gain from this, whether you're just starting or you're an existing brand that's looking to grow their audience and tap into an additional cash flow source without having to dig into your bank yourself, but also really be able to look at crowdfunding as a way to get your inventory paid for through other people. So super interesting conversation happening very soon. But I really wanted to share two things that I am very, very excited to share with you. First off, you may have heard this by watching a few of my previous videos that recently we have opened a free Facebook community for those that want to launch and scale their product online. I opened this community as a way for people, like-minded people, launching products and even existing e-commerce entrepreneurs to network with others around the world. We're also going to be sharing resources, and in this free community, which you can have a link to with all the details in the description, but you're getting first access to anything we do behind the scenes, as well as first access to challenges, which brings me to my second point. In a couple of weeks, on September 3rd, we are releasing an audience building playlist on YouTube. So this means, first off, biggest question I get asked is, where do I start? How do I start if I'm literally just starting? And let's face it, if you are an existing Amazon seller, or maybe you're just starting, in order to have success online selling your product, you need brand awareness and you need to have an audience of people to launch your product to and get to sell your product. You really need that community. And so what better way to kick off the rest of the year of 2020 but to help you build your audience and really help you get started. So first off, be sure to subscribe to YouTube so that you do not miss a notification when that challenge goes live. And second, we are offering a bit of additional support for a very fair fee below, so you can grab all the details below to sign up for the challenge. The challenge is 100% free, but if you're looking for a little bit of extra coaching and accountability and resources, we do have an option where you can upgrade for a nominal fee. So again, all the details are in the description, but I'm really pumped. I'm excited to be offering this as both a free and an upgraded challenge. So join us on September 3rd for that. And apart from that, let's actually get to the interview with Maneesh. Hey guys, how's it going? I'm actually pretty excited. If you guys have been following the show for a while, this is not a new face. Maneesh Sethi is the founder of Pavlok, and I wanted to reconnect with him to actually record a case study here in 2020, because I'm now building a lot of assets talking to established brands that have used crowdfunding, so Indiegogo or Kickstarter, to launch new products and really get inside their brain and see why they're using it for subsequent launches when they already have a website set up and they're already selling other products on Amazon. And so, Maneesh, since starting Pavlok, has come quite a long way. He's developed multiple products. He's used Indiegogo several times for different launches. And so today, I just want to get into your head a little bit to see, because I think you have a new product coming out. Is that right?
We do have a new product coming out. Pavlok, the third generation of our Pavlok hardware is coming out in about, I don't know, sometime in the late summer, early fall. So our first prototypes were made. But yeah, I make Pavlok. I've been running the company since 2013. I had the idea because I had a lot of trouble staying focused. So I decided to hire somebody to follow me around. And every time I wasted time, she would slap me in the face. I found that when I had extreme in the moment accountability, that I became extremely productive. And I thought, that's interesting. What if I created a system that could help me do this without having to have a human being? What if I use like a dog, shock collar to help reinforce good habits and help me stop doing bad habits? And I found that by taking the concept of reward and punishment and making it less in the future and more in the moment, you can rapidly change your brain to start liking the things that you want yourself to like and stop liking the things you want yourself to stop liking. And that context really had a large ramification. And we started off the company with the concept of this all-in-one habit system. And the first time I worked with you was when we started focusing on individual habits. This is the first one of which was helping people wake up earlier. So yeah, that's me. And we've been around for a while, 100,000 plus customers, and 4 campaigns that have raised just under $1 million.
Yeah. It was really cool. Pavlok got started from, it was an Indiegogo campaign, right? That you did that first time?
Yeah, we started about a year and a half before the Indiegogo campaign, but yeah, we got started.
Yeah. So really got your start on Indiegogo and have since then used a crowdfunding model to come back over and over and over again. Have you found from going back to Indiegogo or just crowdfunding in general, have you noticed your audience getting fatigued between launches, or are you still able to, like, can you walk me through what your audience has to go through every single time a new product gets launched? Like, are you building up a new audience every time around the new habit, or like, what does that look like?
That's a great question. So I haven't run one in a while, and our last one was our most, it should have been our best launch if you think about it logically, because our best-selling product is Pavlok 1, and Pavlok 2 was the launch. So we expected that we would have a lot of people who were repeat buyers. But we didn't. We had very, 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 very few, very low percentage repeat buyers. And the traffic that we sold to on, at that point, we were planning on using just our audience because we were fundraising and we had turned off our advertising for a while. And because of that, we had an extremely low ROI on that campaign. Our average campaign was doing about $250,000, and that one did, I think it was 30. And so when I look at our traffic, I'm noticing that throughout everything, it's extremely hard to correlate the length of a customer to their email list to their sale. But at the end of the day, the majority of our customers buy on day 1 or day 2, like max day 7. If you haven't bought it by day 30, you're pretty unlikely to buy. And so to me, the active, in my opinion, the reason that we failed last time on our campaign and succeeded the previous times was due to cold traffic ad spend. So I believe that you could probably run run an in-demand like year-round as a retargeting or as a cold traffic campaign, and use that without even the intention of building a new product. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's interesting because we usually see when you look at certain brands that do multiple launches, like I was just talking to Live Watches before this, they've done 4 subsequent campaigns for 4 new products. And typically you're going to see sales increase for each one as their audience size grows with that, right? And you know, you followed that trajectory when you first started because like Pavlok 1 did around 250, Pavlok 2 again beat that, but then the last launch was a little down. And so would you say that it's because we didn't build up the audience and we relied 100% on the established Pavlok audience during that launch?
The first 2 campaigns relied on PR and press and ads. And the 3rd campaign relied on, or the 4th campaign relied on our audience. So different companies are obviously different, you know. I mean, I think if you're an e-com company with mass retention, that's like you're in a rare, very good place. If you're someone who sells like a watch of the month club, you know, then like maybe it'll be easy to
customers.
Get a recurring customer to switch their watch to your Indiegogo campaign next month. But if you're, I mean, I would guess that I would estimate that the majority of e-com companies are rarely selling to the same customer twice. And in that case, there's literally no downside to consistently running a campaign as long as you're not, you know, annoying people. And you can create funnels that are, you know, I mean, whenever we launch a new product on our company, we always launch it silently and do campaigns to cold traffic before we announce it to our own list. And we do this for months. So like a process that if I were to do a campaign again, which actually I'm planning one, the process that I'm trying to follow right now is less of a original Maneesh style, original inventor guy idea style, where you have an idea, you build it the best you can, you put up an Indiegogo where you don't even worry about calculating the costs and see if you can make a profit, and then you're going to figure out how to buy it, and you're going to figure out how to make it afterwards. Instead, we said, okay, well, what's the truth? Is that Maneesh has ideas, but his ideas are rarely like rarely is the customer the same person as Maneesh. And so we were like, all right, well, we're noticing that during this COVID crisis, people aren't using alarm clocks, but they are having trouble with their food. We surveyed our users and found that the biggest habit was food problems.
Food intake,
yeah. And so we said, what if we hypothesize a product that we could create? What if we created a version of our product called Stop the Craving and bought ads to this product? And so we instantly started buying traffic and then had our first few sales in the first week, in the first day or two. And we said, okay, we got our first few sales. So we started experimenting with what our product would look like. So we started off by doing it Maneesh style. So I was like, let's add a scale. Let's make a Pavlok plus a scale, and then we can make it so they have a competition, so they weigh themselves. And we kept testing, and there was lag time. And then we finally just said, why the fuck are we being so stupid and fighting against what the obvious truth is, which is we need to start talking to our customers. Why are we not talking to our customers? This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Great lesson.
And so we said, how can we start talking to our customers? Because our company has had a fundamental fear of phone calls since day one, and a fundamental fear of scheduling stuff. And I said, we must make this automated. We must make this system the way our company. The only way this will work is if it just magically shows up in my calendar. So let's create a system that just makes it magically show up in my calendar. And so what we did is we set a basic system where we have it such that whenever a person buys a Pavlok, they get Zapier stuff. They get Zapiered such that as soon as they buy a Pavlok, then 48 hours later, they get a text from me that says, an SMS that says, hey, here's your tracking info, founder of Pavlok here, really excited. Hey, just wanted to let you know, would you be willing to do a quick call with us about this project? We'll send you a free colored band, accessory band of your choice. So post customer sale, asking them to do a call with us. And we started filling up our calendar. So I had a product manager on my team whose job was to help us do this. And on all these calls together, we interviewed them, converted those interviews into a persona of the customer. And that persona of the customer is like very different than me. It's a woman named Jen who has 2 kids and lives in North Carolina and has trouble maintaining enough time to focus on her with her kids and her diet, right? And so that understanding has now completely shifted the way that we are approaching our marketing and positioning. And and I would say the number of phone calls it took was maybe 6 to 8 calls. So not even 2 hours of total real time, in order to figure out that the people who are buying my product don't care as much about getting rewarded for eating right, but really care about getting control of their diet while taking care of their kids. And I would have thought that if it was me, I would have said we need more competition and bets because people need to take care of themselves that way. And we found out that our users are mostly female mothers who tend to have kids that they take care of and not themselves. So us trying to focus on you could win rewards for yourself or you could look healthier for yourself is not going to sell. Instead, you'll have more energy so you can take care of your kids is the right marketing. And
totally.
So that is a fundamental shift. And the whole product has been completely shifted with 6 phone calls. So what I'm getting at is the way that I think as you elevate in business, you have to stop being bottom up and top down. As a guy who's a natural bottom up, have the idea and do it, I'm starting to realize the effort of top down is way less than you think. It's actually way less. It's like 6 phone calls. If you haven't done at least a few phone calls with potential customers of your product, then there's nothing in the world that you don't have the right to do anything else. You know what I mean? So
because you're building your business and new products off of assumptions that you've made because you think you're right, but you don't. Even if you're kind of right, you're not speaking. You don't fully understand what your actual customer really truly wants. You're not able to properly convey that in marketing, which hurts CPA. It hurts retention. It hurts like everything by not doing the top-down approach. It's like really good lesson. So is this now something that I know you're doing it, I guess, to validate the new product offering and the habit, but is this something that you guys are going to be kind of doing constantly?
That's the
now?
goal. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
the goal is basically in the last few months, in the last 6 or 7 months, we've really started to unite all the pieces of Pavlok. We're getting much closer to my ultimate end goal, which is basically creating a system that has a high percentage of helping people who want to do something that want to do good habits, achieve that success, and then to actually be rewarded and get paid for it. And so we're trying to connect those two pieces so we're able to reward people in a way that motivates them profitably for us, but really valuably for them. And so the goal that what I'm starting to notice here is that we have this we're trying to basically we're getting to a core funnel, which is where we're getting to, and that core funnel involves is like what we're building towards. But the way we bring people into the funnel is infinite. So the simple one that we've begun testing is like, we basically have this campaign right now for women who are having trouble with staying with. It's not just women; it's people who are trying to stop their cravings. And we basically say cravings don't start with cravings. Find out what habits are actually holding you back from achieving your healthy goals, right? And so the campaign basically focuses on a survey where we ask them questions about their habits, and the majority, after doing these phone calls. This came out of these phone calls because initially our plan was to zap our users when they were overeating to reduce the craving, right? It's true and it helps, but it's treating us. But after interviewing 6 of these clients, we realized very obviously that the majority of these clients are not sleeping enough. You can zap the craving away, but that's like treating a symptom. Instead, if you get them to focus on an evening routine and get them in bed by 8 or 9 p.m., you'll actually stop the craving as a side product. But that isn't what they wouldn't click on a link about doing an evening routine. They're clicking on the magic click. So what I'm getting at though is the current campaign we're working on is this same idea that this survey will tell you what habits you should solve for. And you could use that for anything. It's like nail biting doesn't start with nail biting. Find out what habits are really causing you to bite your nails. And they take that survey and it's like your anxiety is likely caused by your sleep schedule. It's like, and so what we'd like to get to, what we have been testing, and we haven't solved this, and this is the Indiegogo struggle that you probably are seeing with clients.
Yeah.
We sell the products we sell on Indiegogo are the same hardware. We have multiple products, but we only have one piece of hardware. We sometimes change the app, but in all honesty, we don't even change the app these days. It's the same app, you get the same product, it's just marketed differently.
Yeah.
So the question comes to how do you do that, and what's the right angling, and how does Indiegogo or Kickstarter help in the process? And I think that the value of Kickstarter definitely comes from getting people to show you money to give you, and from the value of that money being upfront rather than afterwards is huge. I think that people can utilize it in their business, but it does take a big mindset shift. And it does take a big team rallying around a specific event to make it happen.
Can you tell me a bit more about that mindset shift? What do you mean by that?
Basically, it's how hard it is to get yourself to start running, but then once you start running, you're running every day, and now for you, it's hard to stop running.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's hard to get someone to even consider the idea of doing an Indiegogo campaign. But once you consider doing one and you see its effectiveness, you start to think, oh, maybe I can do this again. But there's a resistance towards doing multiple campaigns because for some reason there's this idea that crowdfunding is an amateur preparing to release their first product, and it's not like a channel that you can use.
Yeah.
And also there's an idea that it's only used for new products and not used for products that already exist. And so in these cases, it's this is your job. You got to attract someone to be interested in this stuff. And in my case, I don't know what the answer is because I haven't done an Indiegogo campaign in a while. Yeah. And I keep wanting to talk about doing it, but bringing it up is a huge deal because it's not like, hey guys, I'm not just going to slide a task on a Trello board that says launch Indiegogo campaign, right?
It's a full.
Which is what it should be because really it's just a landing page. It should be I have on my Trello board create new, stop the craving, competitive copy sales page, right? So it should be, what I'm talking about mindset is that what it should be is I drag a new item to the same Trello board and say, create a new landing page for the Indiegogo launch. But instead, my mindset is I have to create a whole new board, or more likely a whole new team to focus on this Indiegogo launch because it's a huge thing, right? It's not the same as a landing page. So,
Yeah.
but the actual truth is it could be. There's no reason you couldn't test your first one by just copying a current landing page over to an Indiegogo campaign, creating a campaign, and then buying ads that just have a countdown with the Indiegogo link and seeing if their ROI is high. Like that might be a very, very nice dip your foot in the water and see if you can get multiple cash from multiple channels. So I think that's the big mindset shift. But so the debate becomes like, do you go all in on an Indiegogo campaign where it's like, are you like, is it a big deal, or are you making it a small deal? And I think it depends on the stage of where you're at or where you are in your business. But I do think there's a lot to be said about using it as a channel. I've never tested it. I've never done that before. Even I'm starting to think maybe I should do that. But it does make sense that would be like, there's no reason we couldn't just launch an Indiegogo campaign and never mention it to our audience, only do it to cold traffic, and you get to see if it has elegance as a channel.
Yeah, because what I've noticed is like when I talk to people who have actually done an Indiegogo campaign that has gone well, they don't understand why more people aren't doing it because it's so good from a cash flow standpoint. But yet when I talk to someone who has only ever heard of Kickstarter, but they've never actually used it, they're like, I don't know. I just want to stick what's tried and true. I just want it, like, it's easy for me to just go launch on Amazon. Like, why do I need this extra channel? And it's like, man, it's like flipping the switch for how people do things. Like, you're able to go in and get $250,000 of inventory funding within 60 days of doing a launch on Indiegogo versus you having to do that by exclusively focusing on Amazon or something for a new product is like a lot more effort. Like I was digging into the stats, and from our first campaign together that netted about 350 or so. Yeah, or
yeah.
Yeah.
No,
we
yeah,
got
350,
like 350. Yeah. We got 42% of our funds from Indiegogo from like organic platform traffic. And that's like, those stats are, to be able to replicate that on another platform is really, really difficult. So
yeah, but also to replicate that on Indiegogo is also difficult. I mean, like the trick here is that like we got that because we were mentioned in the New York Times, and I think that at the time maybe Shark Tank went live at the same time while we were still live.
It was, that was within the first like couple weeks.
And we extended it. I recall the New York Times right when we extended it happening. So like that the same results did not happen the fourth campaign, right? And the big thing that we didn't do that campaign was buying traffic. So here's the difference, and here's what I'm saying. Depending on your audience, right? If you're an audience that's starting your first product, then you're like, this is like a big event, and you should really. But like, if you're a small audience, if you're like an established brand that already has ad buy and ad spend campaign, I would actually advise you not to do a big Indiegogo campaign that you create a new Trello board for. Instead, I would simply think of it like you have to make a choice if it's worth testing. But I have a feeling that a really smart idea would be to launch a currently existing product as a 30-day Indiegogo campaign. Just launch it with the same creative and copy you currently have to get a nice split test. You take your current ad spend, and you don't actually have to change your ads. You do a Google optimized 50% experiment, and you would get at least traffic to see if there's potential in Indiegogo driving you more sales than your current page. So, I mean, this is advice I'm making up as I speak out loud. I've never done this before myself. But it does seem to make sense because even me, I'm thinking about Indiegogo, but in my mind, I'm like, it's not really worth it for me because it's like, it's not that I won't get dollars from it. It's that the mind effort is really big. And for me to say, hey, people who are making Pavlok 3 instead focus on, and people who are making me like my, this dollar, like focus on this, is a huge mental shift. So it does seem to make sense to me that like if you've never done an Indiegogo before, you would start off by not doing that and instead starting by taking a page you've already worked on and promoting it. I'm curious if you ever do that. I'm curious what the results would be because I have no clue what would happen.
You know what I like about that actually? You're testing it because like the dollars into doing a big campaign is a lot for a brand to swallow, right? But if you are trying to figure it out as, is Indiegogo a good platform for my audience? You do a small launch as a test And if it goes well, you can then decide to do a bigger launch, put more money behind it, put a team behind it, right?
Yeah.
Because then it's not that big of a shift. It's just like, you know what? I think I might like running, but I'm not going to sign up for a marathon. I'm going to try running around the block and see how I feel first.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I wouldn't do yeah. You're not going to be able to convince a person who has a huge Amazon store to do an Indiegogo if they've never done it before. But you might be able to convince them to replicate a page that takes less than an hour to do.
Yeah. Within 2 weeks, it's up.
And even if you're running the service or the agency, you can literally copy and paste it. So it works. And like on my end, like the way we do it, because our ad teams always have trouble doing split tests. So we just have them drive traffic to the same page. And then I create a Google experiment, which sends 50% of traffic. So you can imagine that if I wanted to check a page, I can basically tell you, hey, Khierstyn, run this. You could take exactly the same page, copy it over exactly to the new Indiegogo campaign, set it live, and then just do a Google optimized experiment. And with no work, you would at least be able to see on the client side, they would be able to see if there's any value. You know, if they get any value, then they'll find that it's like worth it, you know? So I don't know, that's an interesting model. I'd be curious to see what happens if you ever do that. But
I like that. My only concern would be like, Indiegogo doesn't like current products going up there. So if you're doing this, temporarily halt sales on the product you're testing so that it's only being sold in Indiegogo at that point.
Yeah, I guess. Right? Or don't. I don't know. Do they actually check?
They do. Yeah. They're really like clamping down on stuff like that. So just be cautious with
we often rename the product. Like we have like Pavlok Craving and Pavlok Stop the Craving and stuff. But
that could work too.
Yeah. Cool. Anyway. Yeah. Awesome. So how else can I help the customers? Do you have any other questions?
Yep. I just want to know. So as a brand, why are you considering doing another Indiegogo launch?
As always, it's the same. I mean, it's money. So am I going to make a profit on this model? I find the value of dollars from Indiegogo to be very high because they pay you up front rather than you paying later. So I always optimize. I mean, cash flow to me is far more important than profit because of the many times I've almost gone bankrupt due to the same problem. And Indiegogo gives you the most magical kind of money where you get the money up front. You don't have to deliver it for a long time. And so the value of that is great for product creation, obviously, because you can unlock the R&D dollars of profit up front and convert that in, it's a nice conversion mechanism. So that's the value of Indiegogo. But to be honest, it gets kind of weird when you get to be a higher brand. Like it's weird for me because I don't know. It's like when you're a starting brand, it's like, it's like if you're like probably your high school varsity team was like a really, really, really big deal. But when you're in the NBA, it's not anymore. And so getting brands to look at it as a big deal is not going to work because it just isn't. They're not going to make, if you're making $150,000 a month on Amazon, then it's very unlikely your Indiegogo campaign is going to drive you enough that it's like going to change your life,
Right.
But it could be a new channel. So if you're willing to, if you're the kind of person who is experimenting in new channels, and maybe like if you're not like, and honestly, like in my mind, it's like if you're the kind of person who's not already using Facebook ads and Google ads, like you don't experiment on different channels at all, then probably Indiegogo is not your next step. But like if you're somebody who is like the kind of person who's like, all right, let's test podcast ads, let's test this thing, then this is an interesting channel to experiment with as an experienced content company. I love that.
Awesome. Thanks for letting me get inside your brain for a few minutes there.
No worries. No problem.
So I think this is great. If people want to get in contact with you or learn more about Pavlok, where's a good place to go?
Go to our website, pavlok.com, Pavlok, and you can shoot me a message on Facebook or Instagram. Just look for Maneesh Sethi.
Awesome. And links to everything will be below, guys. So thanks for watching. Maneesh, thanks for your time today. Always good to reconnect.
Awesome.